Koffin Radio.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Koffin Radio. I'm Heartthrob Rob, and today we are talking about Ellie Kemper being labeled the KKK princess, which I believe is totally unjustified and unwarranted, but we're going to dig into it. Ellie Kemper, who is obviously known as Erin Hannon on The Office and the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, first drew fire after social media users noted she was crowned 1999's Veiled Prophet Queen of Love and Beauty at the secretive Veiled Prophet Ball, an exclusive city event that began more than 140 years ago. So it's in St. Louis, and at the time she was going to Princeton University or Princeton College, or whatever it's called. And, at the time, this is 20 years ago, this is 1999. At the time, she's just a 19-year-old girl, and, she becomes the queen, the princess of this, the queen of this secretive ball, And this annual High Society Gala bar last year, due to the pandemic, the annual High Society Gala has long drawn accusations of being racist and elite. So at the time, when this thing started in 1878, at the time, it's a different world. And at the time, right on the rules and all that stuff, it says no blacks, no Jews, stuff like that. Kind of crazy, but you got to remember it's 1878, and I'm not saying that's okay. I'm just saying that mentality is back then. At the time when she wins it, I doubt it's very much that society, and and they do have this historical battle for this to happen. There's this group called Action, who widely fights against this in 1960s. These activists and fight to make sure that this is not okay and that this is no longer going to be a whites only kind of thing, which I think is very very brave of them to do that, because I don't think it was I don't think, like I said, these times have changed, and I don't think it's 1878 anymore. But hundreds of college sophomores have been crowned at the ball, including Kemper, who was a 19-year-old student at Princeton in 1999. There is no known link between the Veiled Prophet organization and white supremacist groups, but the event began to draw protests in the late 1960s when black activists criticized the group for being exclusionary and elitist, just like I said. So like I said, it's in St. Louis. So the St. Louis Cultural Resources Office says the group was founded in 1878 by white male community leaders who hoped to create an event that mimicked Mardi Gras celebrations in New Orleans. The ball is presided over by an anonymous veiled prophet who wears a lace covering and a white robe. At the time, get the veil probably pointed at the top. Probably not the best idea. And a local socialist group called Action regularly picketed the ball for excluding members of color, culminating in the unmasking of 1972's prophet, which turned out to be the then vice president of Monsanto. That evil ass fucking group that makes horrible food or whatever. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch notes that the society began admitting black members in 1979, 20 years before Kemper participated. Kemper's representatives have not yet replied to any sort of request. So maybe in 1878 it was bad. Maybe for the next 100 years, damn near, it was bad. But in 1979, if they start letting in people of color, I don't see what's so wrong with that. Maybe it was bad when it started, but things have changed. Things are better. And when it gets to Ellie Kemper, she didn't go up there in a white robe. She wasn't dressed up there like the Grand Wizard. She hasn't said any, they didn't put the mic to her and her, come out with some racist tirade. It was something that she won 20 years ago. I haven't seen her, putting her cap on her gown on like that, that's not what she's famous for. She's done a lot more since then. I've never heard her reference this thing as a good thing or heard her reference it at all. People just love to dig up your past and try and find out what we can cancel you for. But, maybe it's a learning point. She was 19 years old, so she is an adult. But again, you didn't spit anything racist. You weren't at some racist-ass wedding like that one chick from The Bachelor, and I'm not even throwing dirt on her name, but I'm saying you were at something racist when you were grown. But she just won this thing that has allowed people of color to be in it 20 years before she got there. Damn near since she was born, literally. She was born 19 years, before she won when she was 19. They let people in 20 years ago. So ever since she's been alive, it's been okay to be going there. So I don't see why people are trying to cancel her or calling her the KKK princess. I think it's unwarranted and not cool. And I, for one, will not be canceling Ellie Kemper. I'm against cancel culture for sure, unless you're touching kids or beating up your wife all day. But, I just don't see anything wrong with what she did. And I think it's very, unjust and gross to dig up her past when she's done nothing like that and try and paint it in some other awful light. And that's just how I feel. Maybe it's a learning point for her. She never hung her hat on it, so I never heard her singing the praises of the veiled prophet, queen of love and beauty, So I think it's a learning point for everyone. Kind of just make sure you watch what you're doing. But, I definitely won't be canceling her or fucking, I don't think she deserves the flack that she's getting. But let me know what you guys think about it, man. We'll talk about it in the comments. What do you think? Should she have watched out? Was that too close to the KKK? Or is it just another miscarriage of justice of some sort? Let me know what you guys think. We'll talk about it in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe. And if you like what you're watching, then hop in the Koffin. Follow us on social media at Koffin Radio. Koffin is spelled with a K. And that's all for today.
KSNR, Koffin Radio.